everyone, I'm Alex and I'm the hands behind Lovecraft Crochet. My plushies are for the anxious, depressed, autistic, and neurodivergent. Small enough to travel in a purse, backpack, diaper bag, or even your pocket. You can check out my Facebook page or TikTok to see what patterns are available and stay tuned for the new ones coming out. I also make hats, scarves, blankets, and dice bags for the tabletop gamer or dice goblin in your life. Feel free to order through the page, TikTok DMs, or via email at love.craft.crochet@gmail.com. Now, on to the segment.
Urban legends, missing heaven, hookman coming for you, missing 15 minutes. Mothman's flying at you, missing 15 minutes.
Welcome back to Mything 15 Minutes, the show where we check legends' jackets, dust them off, and then politely ask them if they have any evidence to back that up. I'm Sam Rossi, reading a script written by A.J. Carey, who's extra unhinged after writing the Epstein episodes of Killing 15 Minutes.
I like the Irish. That's what I want to say. No, I don't want to say that.
I don't know. I'm thinking about figuring out how to immigrate to Ireland.
We're not going over that again.
Well, I could get an island for $90,000.
We don't have $9. Become a patron today so we can create a compound on an island in Ireland.
There's no snakes there.
I know, we talk about that.
Today's episode is dedicated to a man whose name is invoked every March, drinking green.
Please.
And suddenly claiming Irish heritage they cannot pronounce. Don't worry, it's a time-honored tradition, so we will not pronounce them right either. That's because I have a speech impediment on top of a learning disability, on top of dyslexia.
And the weed, don't forget the weed.
I don't know, the weed makes it work and at least see the letters. Might be the glaucoma next.
I got the glaucoma.
I didn't smoke enough weed. I got the glaucoma.
Fucking read.
So, you see the title. We're talking about St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland, legendary snake banisher, and possibly the most mythologized missionary in European history. But who was St. Patrick really? And how much of what we think we know about him is, let's say, spiritual exaggeration? Let's myth it out. Totally. First things first. St. Patrick wasn't Irish. We'll give you a moment to process that shamrock shake of a brain freeze. Patrick was born in Roman Britain sometime in the late 4th century, like in what is now England or Wales. So, 4th century, yeah, it's the bottom part of the island.
Yes. South of Hadrian's Wall.
You know what? I found this thing where you can do conquer events where you walk trails and everything like that, virtual tours.
So if the SPR takes us up on our offer to fly us out there, we'll also check out those.
Well, no, I was just, I want to go to Hadrian Wall, but no, you actually do, you walk, say, here, and you get to virtually, follow a path with different highlights and different things.
Yeah.
So I was just saying, Hadrian's Wall is kind of cool. They have one adventure for that.
Have one adventure?
They have an adventure for that. So is the coast of Wales.
Yes.
I'm just saying that there's things I want to do in my world. And I would need like a year to travel Europe, minimum.
Sam, we might be at war with Europe at the end of the month. I don't even know. That might actually be outdated. This is going to come out in March.
Oh, we
might have already gone to war over fucking Greenland. Being a member of Patreon for our unedited episodes, you did not hear a fucking thing I just said. But it was about Trump. Okay, let's get to the rest of the story.
The first real fun fact is that while in his own autobiography, Confessio, he only calls himself Pacris. Pacris? Or Patrick for us non-Latin folks.
Patricus.
Patricus. You know what that sounds like? Patricide.
Well, it's not.
Wrong show. But there's 4 birth names he may have had, allegedly by the much later Titian, the 7th century bishop for
Connacht.
in his book, Collectany, said he had 4 possible names. Magnus,
Magnus,
Succatus, Actress,
Patricus,
Cornithus? Yes?
I think that's supposed to say Corinthicatus.
But modern times, we say his birth name was Mao and Scott. How you got for me?
Maywin suck it.
Which is a very modern 19th century style, but it really sounds like a medieval D's nuts joke. Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, he doesn't come up in this story, actually.
Poor Mario. When Patrick was about 16 years old, Irish raiders kidnapped him since his dad was fairly wealthy senator or a tax collector, something high up, and sold him into slavery in Ireland. He spent 6 years herding sheep, cold, isolated, and developing a very intense prayer routine. So a standard Irish lifestyle. Eventually, Patrick escaped, returned home, and here's the wild part, decided that he really wanted to go back to Ireland voluntarily. That's either fate or Stockholm Syndrome on a theological. Give me a second.
Praise Jesus!
Praise the Lord! And pass the ammunition. Patrick trained as a priest and later returned to Ireland as a missionary, where he spent decades converting people to Christianity. And here's where the myth starts creeping in. St. Patrick didn't single-handedly convert Ireland overnight. It already existed there in pockets. What he did was more organizational. I'd say more clerical work, but he was a cleric, so everything was clerical. That was a stupid joke, bro.
Yes, it was, sissy.
Anyways, he went there, established churches, baptized converts, but more importantly, did the great Christian pastime of adapting local customs to be Christian. And that's basically it. I mean, Patrick does have 2 surviving texts. Aegis says he didn't read them, just skimmed them, but they're personal, oddly defensive, but ultimately very human. No miracle stories, no snake banishments, just a man explaining why he thinks his mission mattered. But no one is here for that. Let's talk about the snakes.
Did you really have to let out that much helium, sissy?
I thought it was snake-like. Like, hiss.
Just keep reading. For the love of God, keep reading.
Trust in me. Trust in me. I don't remember the rest of that song. All there is the trust in me. And then we do the hypnotic thing. The most famous legend is that St. Patrick drove all the snakes out of Ireland. Here's the problem with that. Ireland never had snakes to begin with. I believe they still don't. It's one of the reasons they're in my top 10 countries to live in.
I assume that by now they've at least gotten like 1 or 2 accidental garter snakes, or, you know what I mean, like hognose snakes. Something just as an accident. Because they don't have native snakes, but that doesn't mean that they do not have any, what are those, something species?
Invasive?
That's the word. They were invaded by species.
See, the only thing when we say invasive species, you know what I picture?
Cane toad.
Yes.
In Australia, yes, I know.
Yeah. Anyways, to get geological for a moment, Ireland was separated from mainland Europe after the last ice age, before snakes could migrate there. Fun fact, The only reptile that is native to Ireland is just the common lizard, which AJ thinks has to do with Taga or Doggerland. Doggerland?
Yeah.
But I'm not paying him enough into the migration patterns of a common lizard. Become a patron so he'll pour some hours into a single sentence. Anyways, so what gives? Well, the most obvious thing that historians agree on is that it's probably symbolic snakes. You know, pagans or older religions are the number one. Although, again, symbolically drove it out, not actively driving it out. Then there are Christians that say it was more him casting out metaphorical evil, which is generally dog whistle for pagan beliefs.
So that's why it's kind of a give or take.
Yeah. Regardless, Patrick didn't evict reptiles. He was just the Christian missionary. I know. Less dramatic than driving all the snakes into the ocean. That's why there's ocean snakes? Because of St. Patrick? He is the reason there are sea snakes?
There are sea snakes?
You were supposed to notice that.
I notice all of your fuck up, sister.
So anyway, St. Patrick and the sea snakes.
No. The sea snakes are there because of evolutionary biology, having nothing to do with Catholic saints from the 4th century. 14th century? I can't even remember when the guy was around.
4th.
Okay, I was right.
You were.
It's like I wrote this thing or something.
I don't know. There's another famous association that I don't think a lot of people actually associate directly with him. The shamrock. According to tradition, Patrick used the 3-leaf clover to explain the Holy Trinity. 3 parts, 1 whole. Is it documented? Nope. Is it believable? Yeah, that's actually kind of. I could see it. However, back in the 4th century, there was a 4th portion of the Holy Trinity.
No, there wasn't. Kind of there was, depending on which sect you were going with, but we're not talking about religion in this. Although I would really like to do a saintly 15 minutes just because I really enjoy Catholic saints, even though we will talk about a different one that I actually really enjoy more than St. Patrick.
Would it be St. George the Dragon Slayer?
No, it is not even
He's
close.
one of my favorites.
He would be.
Anyways, if you want to do saintly 15 minutes, you know what you need to do.
Megan's already said no.
I already have another person in mind for you.
Who?
You always have it be one of the kids.
No, why would I do it with one of the kids? They don't know anything about the Catholic religion.
You can always do Mom, Michelle, Carla, my mother-in-law. You write it up.
Finish the damn script!
You write it up and I'll do a show with her. Alright, where we got? It's pretty convenient branding, but that is kind of how missionaries used to integrate with the locals. Over time, Patrick became less of a historical figure and more of a symbolic mascot for the Irish Christianity and eventually Irish identity as a whole. Which brings us to the final evolution, the Shamrock Shake. I kid!
I don't. I will kill you.
St. Patrick's Day started as a religious feast day. Most saints have their own feast days and their giving thanks feast. Anyone want to get in on the fact that early Abrahamic traditions were basically just how to min-max your diets? Anywho, right. It was a feast that the Irish immigrants took globally during the Great Diaspora.
Diaspora.
Diaspora?
Yeah.
All right, diaspora. Can you use that in a sentence? What is the origin of that word?
I would assume Latin.
I would too. Then America got involved, and after Irish folks started being considered part of the white culture, yes, really did happen, it became a party holiday where rivers are dyed green, leprechauns appear, beer is aggressively festive, and St. Patrick himself would probably be deeply confused at the wet t-shirt contest. Ironically, Patrick was indeed a monk, likely sober, deeply introspective, and wrote about humility and fear, not parades and butt chugging. But myths grow, legends adapt, and saints get upgraded into cultural icons, sometimes. So who was St. Patrick? Not Irish, not a snake exterminator, not even a miracle machine. No miracles yet. I don't remember a miracle for St. Patrick.
Again, he's only got the miracle for the snakes.
Yes. You're right. I had that moment where when you bring up miracles, I can't think of a second one for him. It's okay. He was a rich boy who became a slave, then returned to his captor's land, spread a growing faith, and left behind just enough mystery for centuries of legends to grow. Personally, in a more righteous world, St. Patrick's Day would be St. Bridget's Day, and we'd be celebrating the patroness saint of Ireland, who was a native Irish, who allegedly turned milk into beer, and had enough strength of faith to have a nun's baby just disappear from her womb.
Yeah, that's a wild fucking story.
Yes, technically, St. Bridget's Day is February 1st, but still, Bridget is cooler. Stupid patriarchy. AJ wrote that part.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Bridget sounds like someone you could really get a drink with.
Oh, I
She
would totally
turned
party
milk
with
to
her.
beer. She faithfully aborted babies. What was there to not like? That she had massive bazongas?
I bet you
She loved the wet t-shirt contest. I just had that feeling.
I don't think she had that big of boobs.
You gotta hear the stories about this broad.
Anyways, so St. Patty, we have leprechauns, which, you know what, are a native Irish legend.
Kind of, yes.
Majority. You know, there are legends. And let's see what else we got. No snakes. Ireland's is in the top 3 places I want to go to never come back here again. And I think that's it.
Sounds good to me.
So thank you for missing 15 minutes with us. Like, share, follow, do all the engagement stuff. That's free. Join our Patreon.
We have one tier. That's $5, and you get unedited episodes, community stuff, a choice of future episodes, and coming soon stickers. As in, stickers will be coming soon. But that'll be something to listen to blanking 15 minutes about for us to uncover and really just discuss.
So thank you once again. I'm Sam Rossi.
And I'm AJ Carey.
Later, y'all.
Missing 15.
Keep on carrying on.
C-A-R-E-Y.
Right.
Because
Carry on production.